And it's good to be back on this platform. Today I have with me to talk about a lot of issues as we move towards December 4th, the Honorable Deputy Spokesperson of the APRC, Mr. Dodou Jah. Dodou, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jones.
POLITOCO. It's not the first time I've been having you in many platforms. We've talked a lot about the political situation in this country and the views of the APRC as a party. But today we are going to look more so the political landscape as it stands right now. There's a lot of talk going about. The IEC next week will invite, I think, all party leaders to converge for a meeting. But a very recent APRC has been on the bandwagon of President Barrow as he takes on his constitutional mandate, which is to meet the people tour, but highly punctuated by, of course, the politics of the day. Some people believe he's campaigning. Well, he has the right to campaign anyway. It's been happening since the time of Meet the Farmers tour in the First Republic. President Jammeh also harped on his political agenda when he went on the Meet the People tour. And likewise, President Barrow has tinted his Meet the People's tour with political rhetoric, let me say it that way. But let's begin first with the marriage of the National People's Party and the APRC. What prompted this?
Thank you very much, Mr. Jones. And once again, thank you for having me on your show. It's definitely an honor to definitely discuss issues of politics as far as the Gambia is concerned. APRC as a party, our target was going solo. I am fortunate that the APRC Bureau is definitely under my command, or I oversee the Bureau. A lot of work we did in the past, but along the way, financially, we had a lot of challenges. But we always had option B, that is APRC, we're going back to State House alone, or we're going to do an alliance with other political parties. Our doors were never closed. We believe would either be king or kingmakers. This was the concept from 2018 coming into 2019, and that's the work we've been doing. Politics is very expensive, especially presidential elections. It's not just within one constituency or certain region. We're talking about the whole country, and the expenses involved. We definitely have challenges. That's when political parties started looking towards APRC, how we would be able to work with them. But most of them, all they're looking for is our numbers, but they want to lead. None of them want to give APRC the opportunity to lead, and we know we have the numbers. We were looking for the party's interest as well. We don't want to take the risk also joint with other parties that don't have the numbers. What happens if we lose and the incumbent happen to win again? It will leave us at a very funny situation looking at the challenges the party have. So when NPP knock our doors, we put on the table things that we feel they should address, they should redress and help the party to be on 2 feet, which includes finance and mobility, which they also fulfill. A lot happened between the two parties. Committees were set. We've been meeting. Any challenges we have, we go back to the leaders, talk to them, and we come back. Then finally, we agreed that we'll work each other for this December 4th election. So one of which is APRC. Definitely, we have a lot of projects that we want to implement. And being on the side of opposition is always difficult for these projects, to take place, because you need the green light from the government. And no government would want to avail opposition parties the opportunity to bring unprecedented development to any country, which means the people will definitely say the government is not delivering. Then why don't we give our votes to the opposition?
Let me ask you, who initiated this marriage, this amalgamation? Oh, it wouldn't be amalgamation, that would be the wrong word to use, but this marriage of convenience, who initiated it? Was it the APRC or the NPP?
It was the NPP. The interest started from the president himself. I think when he has that breakaway with his former party, the United Democratic Party, UDP, so he needed a party that has the numbers. Not any political party, but a party he believes they have the numbers. And ever since it was his belief that APRC, we were in government, we have the experience, the technical know-how, how a government functions, how it operates, we understand the system, and we have the numbers, without doubt. So it was very easy for him to knock on our doors. But when NPP emerged as a political party, they continued the wish and the intention that the president had. So it came from the NPP and not the APRC. In short, APRC as a party, we have never approached any party and said, can we work together? It is parties that have been coming to APRC, knocking our doors that they want a merger, alliance, or a coalition.
You mentioned that you have the numbers, and I know that you have the numbers. APRC militants are out there, they give their heart and everything to the party. Why would finance be a problem that will allow you, the biggest party in this country, by the way, to join the NPP? I mean, why finance? Why the money?
Oh, it is a question a lot of many people are asking. Like I said, we're at the bureau. We've thrown our nets and see what we can catch. A lot of fundraising we did in the past. A lot of sales we did through Asobis, through T-shirts, etc. And at the end of the day, it wasn't easy to raise the required amount that we need. For example, we've launched Back to State House Fund. We opened a GoFund account and we sold tickets to our militants, $100 each. We were not even able to raise $2 million, and this was within the country and even in the diaspora. I think it was about 1.3 million that was raised based on all our strengths. Now, unless you give people some statistics, they wouldn't understand. Like some people are telling us, Barrow gave us, or NPP gave us 3 million, that should be enough for us to pick up our candidate and contest. Let me just give you breakdown. When you talk about publicity, for example, we need T-shirts. And we're taking it from statistics. Let's say 2016, we had 208,000 votes. Let's say the former president, it's no more within our midst, he's away. We're assuming that we lost 50%. That is, in short, we are able to maintain 100,000 APRC membership. And T-shirts, the cheapest you would get is 150 quality T-shirt. Now, when you multiply that by 100,000, it will give you $15 million. So the 3 million we're talking about that we got from the NPP cannot even buy us T-shirts that we need for our people. And secondly, we worked at the bureau that we will sell our presidential candidate 3 months before election. That is using billboards, countrywide, carton to coiner. Now, let's say we don't have the finance to make those billboards carton to coiner, but we have 53 constituencies whereby we want to put 1 billboard per constituency. And billboards will cost you like 15,000 every week. Now, if you multiply that by 53 constituencies, it will give you about 950,000 around that, or 750,000 around that. Multiply that by 3 months, it will give you close to 9 million plus. Now, only T-shirts and billboards alone is close to $25 million. People are talking about 3 million. And each constituency, they come with their own budget for mobilizing people, mobility, etc. When you talk about campaign, if you don't have the required vehicles, you must hire vehicles. You talk about stickers, you talk about banners, you talk about scarves, etc. This is all under publicity. And going on campaign, people need, lodging should be paid for, feeding, etc. So presidential election, it's nothing cheap. People must understand that. So that 3 million cannot even get us T-shirts we need for the party.
What I taken to the president, what is APRC putting on President Barrow's table?
At the moment, before...
Do you guarantee him 250,000 militants to vote for him?
We are not putting forward any number, but APRC as a party, it's what we are assuring the president, and it depends on the work we're going to exert. As far as mobilization is concerned, APRC, it's well known for that. This is why before we had any agreement or sign or agree anything, we went around the country to consult people from every region, each constituency. 10 people were represented, and we engaged them. And we only have challenges in 2 regions, that is West Coast and slightly within the Kanifing municipality. But this we're working on. A lot of spot meetings are going ahead at the moment. People are definitely beginning to understand.
When you say challenges, what exactly are you talking about?
Well, like we started in West Coast, we had a meeting, a consultative meeting in Marrakech. There were youths that were mobilized who definitely came in the hall and said they don't agree to what the executive is trying to push. And that was championed by our own national youth mobilizer, Honorable Dodou Jah, who said he is against this alliance with NPP. His reasons are Barrow cannot be trusted. He is a betrayer. This is the best reason he could give us. So he was the one who mobilized those youths, and he even failed to attend that consultative meeting, and he's a native of Marrakech. So this was one of the challenges we had. But despite that, the videos, the audios were there. It was not a secret meeting. It was an open meeting. The media covered it, and they heard from all the constituencies. Their chairperson spoke, and their reps who all endorse what the executive is selling.
On this same platform, I had Parmodu, who's also spearheading no to APRC NPP coalition, Barrack, meaning they do not see the executive of the APRC as having the will of the people. How serious is that a threat to what you are doing?
Thank you very much for asking. Parmodu, he's a brother, I would say. And as far as I know, he lives in Bakote. And Bakote is on the Kanifing municipality. Within the KM structures, Parmodu holds no position. And he's not even in the KM forums. And the same Parmodu, I can assure you, he does not even have APRC membership card. The bureau is under my supervision, and I have the database of people who have subscribed to the APRC membership. With all the noise he's making, I challenge him to show a proof that he's a bona fide member of the party. He doesn't have that. Parmodu is in the CRR forum. For the fact that we had people in CRR who had some misunderstanding with the executive, he just grabbed that opportunity to peddle his own agenda that he has.
Claiming that he talked to President Jammeh.
Exactly.
And that President Jammeh asked him to go on this mission of his.
Well, for us, anybody could talk to President Jammeh. And whatever directives President Jammeh gives, that does not represent the leadership of the APRC. We have a National Executive Committee that the party looks up to. If instructions or information is not coming from the National Executive, then that is people's wishful thinking. Why is the proof that President Jammeh gave them the go-ahead? Talking to President Jammeh, it's one thing. So why should President Jammeh pick up Parmodu and give him directives about how the party should run? What position does Parmodu hold? Parmodu cannot influence people within the APRC. When the going was tough, Parmodu was nowhere to be found from 2016 coming to 2019 and the early 2020. When Parmodu was added to the PYFC forum, I was present. They brought him back. It was announced that he's back. And he said he's back at the party to work. But before he came back, where was Parmodu? So you cannot come today and say you must dictate the pace at which the party has to operate, that President Jammeh called you and gave you directives. No political party operates that way.
You have been on the tour with the president.
Yes.
What is the president saying about this marriage between his party and your party?
He is definitely elated with the crowds that has been pulled in all the places.
In other words, what is he reassuring people? That I am President Barrow, hand in glove with APRC? Is that the message?
Yeah, he said the best decision he has ever made politically is to do an alliance with the APRC. That nobody now will query whether he has people in large numbers. The crowds are there for everybody to see. And historically, we've pulled crowds, especially in Basse. You know, it is record-breaking, the people that gathered in that mini stadium for the first time in history. And for the 4 years he has been going on tour, This is the first time he has ever seen such a crowd. Bansang likewise, we've pulled very huge crowd. And in all other places, in Jambu, in KMC at Buffer Zone, and yesterday in Banjul. And he's saying it in his meeting that nobody would say that President Barrow now doesn't have the numbers that are required to win him election. So he's very confident, he's very happy, and he believes that APRC, as a political party, we have the experience, we have the expertise, we have what it takes to run a government. So for him, it is like December 4th, it's a done deal.
That's Barrow speaking.
Yes.
What is APRC talking?
We've been saying it that we are going to be the kingmakers. Any political party the APRC backs will form the next government. This we have been saying before we even form an alliance with the NPP. And it is like our message, Barrow have seen it across, and he has also embraced that APRC, we are the kingmakers. And we have proven to the whole world with the crowds that we have pulled in all the venues that we held meetings.
They say that politics is a game of interest. You side with where your interest lies.
Yes.
What is APRC's interest in joining Barrow to form the next government?
There are a lot of interest until at the peak of which is the safe return of the former president, His Excellency Jammeh. Some believe that he must come back. He has every right to come back. Yes, but there's a government in place. And understanding what is diplomacy and protocols, you just don't pack your bags and you come back home. It doesn't work like that, especially when there are a lot of allegations from the Janneh commissions, the TRRC, etc., that has been levied on him, which would require to go through the judicial system, which could take a very long time. I believe the case of Yankuba Toure should be a lesson to APRC as a political party, that there are powers that government have, there are powers that the judicial system have, and you cannot just trash that and brush it away. It doesn't function like that. And the judicial system, which you could have monthly sittings. This month you have a sitting, then they will adjourn it for next month. How long would that take? And all these alleged crimes that are levied on the former president, we thought it not wise to go through the judicial system and challenge it. But we want to use diplomacy and protocol to make sure that we engage government. How do we forge and foster a national reconciliation? The past is the past. We have to live and learn through the past and forgive one another, and we must be forward-looking. This is the greatest interest that the party is looking at. In as much as a lot of people might not like President Jammeh, he has a large following. Not only APRC, but Gambians still love him. They still have him in their heart. So such a personality you cannot undermine or want to use the judicial system in bringing him down. We have our fears that it could create chaos in this tiny country called the Gambia. There are better ways of trying to mend the past and be forward-looking and to make sure that the Gambia we're all yearning for, collectively we'll be able to build that. So the greatest interest is having him to return to this country safely. And also national reconciliation. APRC was the former government. Our government, there were a lot of things that happened, allegations, crimes that were perpetrated, and these are things that we cannot just bury on the ground. So we need to reconcile this country. And that interest we have seen in His Excellency President Adama Barrow. He wants to champion that in uniting people. Development, like I mentioned earlier, we still have projects we couldn't execute when we were in government, especially 2014, 15, 16, a lot of projects have been pending, and we only feel going back to government would be easy for us to implement such projects. Projects like we had it in place that will have a second airport in this country. We have projects like having a general hospital in West Coast and in URR. All these were projects like feeder roads, and even the highways being extended to either double lanes or to have flyover roads, that will be able to extend to the airport. These and a lot more. Even free university education in 2018 was all in the pipeline. But such projects you cannot execute as an opposition. It won't be easy. So all these, or these are the major ones or the key ones, why we definitely want to work with the incumbent so that we'll also contribute our quota in moving Gambia forward.
Let me borrow the words or the allegations made by this chap you mentioned in Marrakech, who was vehement in his pronouncement that he doesn't think that President Barrow should be trusted. Maybe he may cite, for example, President Barrow did say he was going to stay for 3 years and that he was not a politician. But he changed his mind on that and sat for 5 years by virtue of the fact that he's got a constitutional mandate to stay for 5 years. But I believe he knew that 5 years was what the Constitution said, but he said 3 years. And he said that President Barrow should not be trusted. Does APRC trust President Barrow? And do you believe that what he has promised you will materialize?
Thank you very much. That's a very important question. Some of the people pushing that no to alliance, it's where they're clinging on. And again, saying no to alliance when there's already an alliance, I think that needs to be looked at. Definitely, you don't want something to exist and it already exists. I think they need a name change. Now, when it comes to trusting President Adama Barrow, the National Executive Committee are no novice in politics. They've been there for over 2 decades. They have the experience, the technical know-how. And President Barrow has been put to a lot of tests on his party, NPP, through requests that we made, engagements we had with them. And they have fulfilled it 100%. Whatever happened in Coalition 2016, we were not part of it. It was them. And it is the same coalition. Barrow was not in it alone. Doi never wanted to be part of it. UDP were out, GMC were also out, which means 3 out, and 4 of them stayed, plus the independent candidates. So in democracy, they said majority carries the vote. So majority of them endorsed Barrow's constitutional mandate, that is the 5 years. And it was UDP themselves then, the Foreign Affairs Minister, Honorable Usainu Dabo, who championed that whoever wants to force Barrow to resign before 5 years, he is going to challenge them in court. So it's Barrow's words, yes, but the coalition partners, stakeholders and parties backed him that he's going in for 5 years. Who amongst them objected to that 5 years? You could say maybe Doi was one of those who said he should respect that. When it comes to PPP, O.J. Jallow spoke that he said after 3 years, if he was in government, he was going to resign. Not PPP out, but him as an individual. And it was later that UDP switched from Lawyer Dabo saying 5 years, changing to 3 years. That's what brought the 3 years Jotna movement, majority of whom were UDP. People cannot doubt that. Though you have other Gambians who were not UDP, who also envisaged that vision and that goal that they joined the movement, wanted to see Barada. But they had a meeting, the coalition partners themselves, through the leadership of the former Vice President, Her Excellency Fatoumata Jallow Tambajang, who said they endorsed Barrow 5 years. Instead of 3 years, they are endorsing him for 5 years. So Barrow never did it alone. People must not forget about that. They had their meetings, and majority of those parties in that coalition said he should go for 5 years, and that is what the Constitution said. As far as APRC were not part and parcel of it, we never sound our opinion on it, whether it's 3 years or 5 years. We minded our business. So if people could call that betrayal, that is their opinion. But for us, we saw that they had a meeting, consulted each other, and they endorsed the 5 years, majority of the coalition stakeholders.
Will this marriage of convenience between your party and the NPP further strengthen the base of the APRC?
Yes, this is our belief. There are people who feel this alliance will kill the party, will end up surrendering to the President Adama Barrow. We believe otherwise. We know politics. We've been there for a very long time. And we believe being part of government gives you the strength that you need, the ability to deliver more, especially when it comes to projects. But when it comes to engaging your people, the party remains. Our party color still exists. We are wearing our T-shirts, our asobis, our flags are high because flying high. We are APRC. We're not surrendering our party. We're not giving up our party. We still maintain what we have. Looking at the name, we said APRC stroke NPP-led alliance. They already had their coalition. That was from 2016. When NPP came, the president was again endorsed to lead. We as a party are working with NPP-led alliance. It's like an alliance working together for the greater good of Gambia. But APRC will remain APRC and will continue to do our rallies, our meetings, our tours, whatever activities we'll be doing in the past, including congresses.
In Barrow's government, you met an alliance of NRP, GPDP, PPP, NCP, and an independent. But you as APRC are bringing in more than all these parties put together.
Exactly.
Will you leverage on that and put the APRC on a stronger footing come the next government?
Well, I don't know in which context exactly you want to put in.
In other words, you may be bound to have ministerial positions.
Okay, okay.
Who will be dictating the pace?
Thank you. These people must not forget that this country still has a constitution, and that's the supreme law of the land. We're not putting any demands on the table because we don't have the powers, and it is not like a right entitled to us. Our focus is, as a party, we want to contribute. It is up to the president who chooses cabinet. He has to decide that. We're not putting anything concrete on the table. And MOUs are gentleman agreements in any country. It is based on two things. It is based on trust and it is based on expectation. So that is up to the leadership to fulfill. And we believe that will be done. But to simplify it, we're not putting any hard demands on the table that we must have this because the law doesn't belong to us. Anything giving would definitely appreciate it. We just want to contribute our quota in government to make sure that Gambia moves forward. People must understand that.
You mentioned an MOU.
Yes.
Could you just summarize what the MOU entails?
What
or is that letting the cat out of the bag? Because a lot of people are talking about that they don't believe that there is an existing MOU. Can we dispel that myth? Can you tell us that there exists an MOU signed by President Adama Barrow and whoever is representing the APRC?
Exactly. I am fortunate to be part of the negotiating committee of the APRC that were engaging the committee from NPP. There is an MOU of which we're keeping it confidential. We only provided 2 hard copies whereby both parties will sign each copy and it will be kept by those leaders. Whoever leaks it,
you said will sign. That means it's not yet signed.
It has been signed.
Or it has been signed.
Yes. On the side of NPP, their national chairman or their national president signed it, Honorable Dembo Bojang, Dembo by force, commonly known.
Who is a very straightforward person.
Exactly.
I trust Dembo. I trust
And
him.
on the side of APRC, it was signed by the Right Honorable Alhaji Fabakary Tombong Jatta. That was in my presence. But I did not look at the content. I already knew, being part of the committee, what was agreed. We briefed our party leader. He went through it to confirm that what we said is what's on the document before he signed it. So that I can affirm that there's an MOU and it has been signed. People are saying, why not make it public for transparency's sake? We're saying this is politics. We're not alone. We have people or other parties that are challenging, that are on the opposition and definitely also want to win. Strategically, technically, we don't want to make it known now. But when the time is due for us to sell our candidate to the Gambians, we'll definitely tell them what, or I would say we might. I can't guarantee. We might tell them what the MOU entails. But why keeping it to ourselves, making it confidential, is due to a political strategy and technicality that we don't want to release.
And I don't blame you for that.
Exactly.
It's politics. It's a game of survival.
Yes.
And yes, we know there are adversaries.
Yes.
But right now, shall I say done deal, December 4th? Done deal.
This is our belief, and this Meet the People's tour, like you mentioned it, it's not a political tour. But at times, the president and his government are blamed. But being on the ground, since the days of APRC, you go to certain areas, it is the people themselves that politicize it because you give them the opportunity.
Even the First Republic, my dear friend.
Exactly. So they always blame the government. When the people on the ground, you know, you invite the alkali to make a welcoming remark. He's not forced to praise the president or to show where he belongs. The same thing, people who are represented from various communities, their agenda is political. So what do you expect from the president? Some are saying, no, you should shun them, or you should, you know, try to tell them that our custom and tradition does not promote that. Elderly people and people who has responsibilities are respected. And you cannot take politics out of our day-to-day activities. Politics runs this country. Politics runs the world. So people must accept that.
What are you hearing from other political parties about this marriage?
Well, I can say...
They don't seem to like it.
No. Those who spoke, the likes of UDP, GDC, from the Citizen Alliance, All People's Party, Gambia for All Party, almost all these parties condemned it. That even ANRD, former General Lamin Bojang, I listened to his last interview. He said, you know, it's a failed alliance and we have disappointed Gambians. That's his opinion. What people fail to understand, especially when they advocate for rights or human rights, we are humans and we also have rights. There is no law in this country that prohibits APRC to do an alliance with any individual or a political party. Where is that sense of awakening, accepting what the laws say? We are a party, we have right to do alliance with any political party, and I believe as leaders they should accept that. I think they have a fear that with NPP, APRC Alliance is game over for them come December 4th. And almost all these parties would wish that APRC backs them and they will go to State House. They know it's a tough challenge to defeat this alliance, even if they come together. They are on that vibe. They're discussing and trying to form another alliance. But crowds we have pulled, and this is just meet the people's talk. Campaign is yet to come when real politics will surface. We're yet to reach that level. So if meet the people's talk could pull these crowds, how about when campaign it's definitely due. So we're very confident that it is game over. So they have every right to speak against it, but it is our constitutional right to do alliance with any political party, and they have to respect that.
You're watching POLITOCO with me, Malik Jones. My guest, Dodou Jah, Deputy Spokesperson of the APRC. They've just gone to church and married President Barrow's NPP.
Oh,
and
yes.
we are the witnesses,
yes.
alive watching it and trying to dig into this honeymoon, as we may call it right now. Esafal,
yes,
he was lead counsel for the TRC. He hasn't submitted a report to the president yet, and now he wants to be the president. What's your take on it?
Well, I respect his decision. I think it's his constitutional right. He has every right to join a political party or to contest the presidency come December 4th. I wish him luck and I welcome him in the arena. Unlike other people who say he shouldn't do that, I have a different view. And as a party, we don't think it is wrong. People could have different views, the way they analyze things, how they see it. But the law is the law, and it's what governs all of us, and the law must be respected. On the other side, people believe that it was done too soon. I would have said no. The TRRC report and recommendations should have been completed earlier than expected. Then he'll be able to fulfill his mandate of wanting to become president. That is his right. And I wish him good luck. I wish him well. But as we speak, I feel what the TRRC did, that has never happened anywhere in the world. You cannot present recommendations when your report is yet to be done and dusted. There's a motive behind that. Because recommendations should be based on the report itself. When you present a report, then you make a recommendation. But fast-tracking recommendations without report, it looks kind of funny. What is in those recommendations? For me, I feel they are putting the cart before the horse. And today, I think, yesterday was supposed to be the second chance or opportunity giving for that submission of that report. Still, they're saying there are about 2 or 4 volumes to be completed. What is actually wrong? That we need to ask, that recommendations are easy to make and reports are still pending. That's kind of look funny. And I believe him as the lead counsel, he has questions to answer. He's saying that he has completed his job and he has every right to contest I say the job is not yet completed. He might achieve 99%, but unless and until that report is submitted, his job is yet to be completed. Because that report also, he should be part and parcel of it as the lead counsel. He must oversee what report is prepared to say, no, you have put A, B, and C. It shouldn't be that. It should be this. Especially when he did the most questioning of witnesses and people they allege that they committed crime. So he cannot dust off his hands whilst the report is still pending. With due respect, I believe there's still 1% pending, and he should be part of that team to make sure that that report is complete.
Now they've given them enough time. No, there's no time limit now.
Exactly.
As I happen to learn,
yes.
They can have all the up to eternity to present their report to the president. But alarmingly, as you just mentioned, you cannot send the recommendations without the report being submitted. That we cannot accept.
Exactly.
Okay. Let me take you now to the political landscape. 18 political parties, 4 more to go, if at all the APRC, the IEC does give them the green light. I mean, there are 4
independent.
more. Yes, and some independents as well. And are you surprised with the voter registration of 961,000 people, registered voters, 961 plus, and
yes.
24 political parties, or 20 political parties, 22. If all the other parties, the other 4 waiting on the sidelines, if they're given the green light, we'll be talking about 22 political parties. Are you surprised? Do we need to?
Well, partially, yes. I am surprised. Looking at the voter population of this country, people will tell you it's democracy. People have every right to register a political party. Yes, that we have no qualms about. But there are laws governing that. I always give the scenario of Banjul. Now, when you say in order to register a political party, in each region, you need 5,000 voters to back that party in order to register. And looking at the nature of Banjul, you have 20,000 plus.
21,373.
Yes. Now, how is it possible that all those 18 political parties are backed by 5,000 people within Banjul? Do we have people in Banjul that belong to every political party? That is impossible. So the IEC need to explain, which shows there are parties, they just copy from the IEC database and go and register. That is one criteria. Another is you must have a regional office. In every region, you must have a political bureau that they don't fulfill. The IEC themselves have assessed, have confirmed that there are political parties who use their living room as offices. When the IEC are gone, they bring back their chairs and tables. They've told us that in one of the validation workshops. So why are you endorsing them as a political party? I believe finance is involved, because to register a party, you must make sure you pay $1 million. Wow. $1 million, it's money for the IEC. It's like they're more focused on the finance rather than the code of conduct or the regulations that the IEC put in place. This tiny country for 18 political parties, and I believe there should also be a law in place that if you want to register a political party, they must look at your manifesto, your constitution. What is different from the existing parties? What can you add? What value are you bringing on? But most of these parties, what they do is they send the university students to other political parties. They will tell you they have a research they're doing at the university. They need your party's constitution. So they put other parties' constitutions together and see what they can copy and paste and what can be added. If you read their manifestos, their constitution, you will see the similarities. So I don't think we need such a huge number of political parties in this tiny country. And at the end of the day, they're not bringing in anything new or no difference. Each political party is telling you different sets of programs. That is health, that is education, agriculture. They're talking about tourism, etc. That other parties already have. But I think the challenge is everybody wants to be a leader. And secondly, within political parties, we don't have internal democracies. Like the leader continues to be the leader until eternity or until death happens to engulf them, then we look for somebody else. So when you join such parties, what are the chances of you becoming a leader? I think internal democracy too, there should be laws put in place to regularize that. It will reduce the number of parties. If I know before forming my own party, joining another party, either 5-10 years, I might have the opportunity to lead, I might join those parties, especially when you share the same policies, the same manifesto, the same aims and objectives. So why the need for a new party? So definitely these are issues. If it is thoroughly looked at, there shouldn't be that huge number of political parties in this tiny Gambia.
KM West Coast, 49.99% of the electoral roll, registered people. How strong is NPP APRC in KM West Coast?
Thank you very much.
If you have 45% of that, you'll win you'll win the elections.
Of course.
Are you sure of getting that?
We will get more than that. We're very hopeful of getting it. Let me just remind people, based on statistics, during the local government elections, UDP swept the polls, backed by then the president. Okay, starting from the presidential, they had about 43%. We have close to 40%, 39 plus. We came second. Now, looking at the local government, even the parliamentary, wherever they emerge to be first, APRC is always second, which shows the numbers are there. And it was a coalition. They joined hands together, and there's a division, which means NPP have also taken their share from that coalition. And APRC, we've been mobilizing the grassroots. We did our best to maintain our crowd, and the proof of that is seen everywhere. The whole world could attest to that. Now, NPP, APRC together definitely is a booster for any candidate that we happen to put in place. So the records will speak for itself. So based on KMC, West Coast, and all the other regions, we believe that we have the majority.
Would you say that the president's tour has been a success, both in terms of his policies and, of course, on the political level as well?
Well, on both angles, it has been very successful. For the first time, I've been to Basse, and projects that the president has initiated, I've seen with my two eyes, the roads and the bridges. It's first class. We must put politics aside. It doesn't belong to the president or NPP. It belongs to us as Gambians. Nobody would want to travel, and they must vet which party or tribe you belong to. It's for Gambians, and the roads are good. It used to take people hours to travel, let's say, from Koba Kunda going to Suduwal, but it takes us, I think, about 20 minutes. We were in Suduwal. I said, are we really in Suduwal? They said yes. So I could see the huge difference before then those roads were built compared to now. I believe on the 9th of this month, he's going to inaugurate those roads and bridges. I've seen the roads, we rode on it, and it's first class. I can attest to that, going and coming. So that's efforts that they did, and I believe Gambians must commend them for that. And promises he did in delivering ambulances, power tillers and tractors, all these communities, and it's everywhere in the social media he delivered. And again, he's making a lot of promises in some communities like Mankamankunda and other communities. There was some bricklaying for foundation of health posts that he promised, and they're already going to build that. So mini stadia, I went around even within Basse, Bansang, and other places. Some of them work is in progress through the youth ministry. They did promise the youth that, and it is happening. And a lot of promise is giving that what is definitely in the pipeline would definitely benefit Gambians. And these are issues that we've seen. That's why I said it is a success, both politically and based on the policies that his government has.
All right, this one needs a short answer and a short question for that matter. In front of you is a crystal ball, and you're looking on the 5th of December. What do you see?
Victory for the APRC NPP Alliance.
That was Dodou Jah, Deputy Spokesperson of the APRC. He was talking to me on POLITOCO. We're looking at the NPP-APRC marriage, which, as he said, promises the Gambia a brighter future. We'll be seeing you some other time.